tires crunched over the gravel drive as the SUV lurched to a stop in front of the cabin. Frost clung to the pines like desperate fingers, and the northern air bit through the open window, carrying the scent of damp earth and something sharper, metallic. I killed the engine, and silence rushed in, thick and unbroken except for the faint creak of the cabin's porch settling under its own weight. Sarah stirred beside me, rubbing her eyes, while Emily and Lily unbuckled in the back, their whispers bubbling with excitement. "It's like a fairy tale house," Emily said, peering out at the weathered logs and the sagging roofline. I forced a smile, ignoring the chill that had nothing to do with the October wind. The realtor had called it rustic charm. But up close, it looked like a place forgotten by time, tucked deep in the Adirondacks where cell service flickered like a dying flame. We unloaded the bags under a sky bruised purple, the sun dipping behind the ridge too early, casting long shadows that twisted across the yard. Lily giggled as she chased a leaf skittering across the frozen grass, her boots kicking up puffs of frost. Sarah looped her arm through mine, her breath warm against my neck. "This is perfect, Alex. No emails, no deadlines. Just us." I nodded, hauling the cooler inside, the door groaning open on rusted hinges. The interior smelled of mildew and old smoke, the floorboards protesting underfoot. A stone fireplace dominated the living room, its mantel cluttered with dusty knickknacks, faded photos of stern-faced people in sepia tones, their eyes seeming to follow us as we moved. Emily claimed the loft bedroom for her and Lily, her voice echoing down the ladder. "There's a window up here that looks right into the trees, like we're in a treehouse." I watched Sarah unpack in the kitchen, her movements efficient, humming softly. For the first time in months, the knot in my chest loosened. This was escape. This was family. Dinner was simple: hot dogs roasted over the fire, s'mores melting sticky on graham crackers. The girls sprawled on the threadbare rug, their laughter bouncing off the walls as they recounted school stories. Outside, the wind picked up, rattling the panes like impatient knuckles. I stepped onto the porch for a moment, lighting a cigarette I shouldn't have packed. The forest loomed, a wall of black trunks swallowing the last light. Something moved in the underbrush. A deer, maybe, or just branches swaying. But the sound lingered, a soft rustle that didn't match the breeze. I flicked the butt into the dark and went back inside, chalking it up to nerves. Jet lag from the drive or the altitude playing tricks. Sarah caught my eye, raising an eyebrow. "You okay?" I kissed her forehead. "Better than okay." That night, sleep came in fits. The bed in the master room was lumpy, the quilt scratchy against my skin. Sarah curled against me, her breathing steady, but I lay awake listening to the house settle. A floorboard creaked upstairs, Emily shifting, probably. Then another, closer, in the hall. I sat up, heart thudding dully. The digital clock on the nightstand glowed 2:17 a.m., its red numerals bleeding into the shadows. "Sarah?" I whispered. She mumbled something incoherent. The creak came again, deliberate, like footsteps testing the wood. I slipped out of bed, bare feet cold on the planks, and eased the door open. The hallway stretched empty, moonlight slicing through a window in silver shafts. At the end, near the girls' loft, a shape flickered, too tall for a child, gone when I blinked. Imagination, that's all. I climbed the ladder quietly, peering into the loft. Emily and Lily were tangled in their sleeping bags, faces slack in sleep, chests rising and falling in unison. Relief washed over me, but as I descended, the air felt heavier, laced with that same metallic tang from outside. Morning broke gray and reluctant, mist coiling through the trees like smoke from an unseen fire. We hiked the trail behind the cabin, the path narrow and overgrown, roots snaking across the dirt like veins. Lily rode on my shoulders, her small hands gripping my hair, while Emily darted ahead, collecting pine cones for witch spells. Sarah walked beside me, her hand in mine, pointing out a frozen stream glittering under the weak sun. Look at that, it's like glass. The isolation pressed in, comforting at first, the world reduced to our footsteps and the crunch of needles. But halfway up the ridge, Emily stopped short, her back to us. "Dad? What's that?" She pointed to a cluster of boulders half buried in moss. At first, I saw nothing, just rock and shadow. Then the shape resolved. A doll, porcelain face cracked, dress tattered and mud-streaked, propped against a stone as if waiting. Its eyes were glass, staring blankly toward the cabin. Lily whimpered, burying her face in my neck. "It's creepy." Sarah knelt, turning it over gently. No name, no tag. Probably left by previous renters. Kids' stuff. But her voice wavered, and when we left it there, I glanced back twice, half expecting it to have moved. Back at the cabin, the mood shifted. Emily sketched the doll in her notebook, her pencil scratching furiously, while Lily clung to Sarah, asking for stories to drown out the wind. I tried the radio. Static, then a burst of garbled voices that dissolved into hiss. No signal on the phones either, the bars mocking us with ghosts of connectivity. "We'll drive out tomorrow for supplies," I said, forcing cheer. Dinner was pasta from a box, the sauce too salty, the flames in the hearth popping sparks that made the girls jump. As night fell, the sounds started again. Soft thumps from the walls, like something testing boundaries. Sarah laughed it off over wine. Old houses talk, but her eyes darted to the corners, where shadows pooled deeper than they should. I woke to the girls' voices, muffled and urgent. 3:42 a.m. The loft ladder creaked under my weight as I climbed. Emily sat up, pale, clutching Lily. "We heard it, Daddy," whispering. Lily nodded, tears streaking her cheeks. "It said our names." I scanned the room, nothing. Just the window, fogged with breath, and beyond it, the trees swaying in rhythm. "Dreams," I murmured, stroking their hair. "Bad dreams from the hike." But as I descended, a whisper ghosted past my ears, soft, like wind through cracks, but shaped, "Stay." I froze, pulse hammering. The hallway was empty, the air still. Sarah stirred when I slid back into bed. "Everything okay?" Her voice was thick with sleep. I lied, pulling her close, listening to the house breathe around us. Dawn brought rain, a relentless patter that turned the yard to mud. We played board games by the fire, the girls' laughter forced at first, then genuine as Monopoly fortunes rose and fell. But Emily kept glancing at the window, her piece hovering over boardwalk. I saw it again. The doll lady. Sarah paused, cards in hand. "What doll lady?" Emily described it haltingly. A figure in white, drifting at the tree-lean, face obscured but limbs too long, movements jerky like a marionette. Lily chimed in. She waved at me. I stepped to the window, wiping condensation. Nothing but rain-slick pines and sheets of water cascading from the eaves. "Shadows in the storm," I said, but my voice sounded hollow. To distract them, I suggested Esmores again, the chocolate melting too fast, gooey strings snapping back like threads. Afternoon dragged, the power flickering once, twice, plunging us into gloom lit only by the fire. Sarah found an old photo album in a drawer. Yellowed pages of the cabin's history. Families posed stiffly on the porch, dates scrawled in faded ink. 1923, 1947, 1962. In one, a woman stood alone, her smile tight, eyes hollow. The caption, "Eleanor, waiting." The girls lost interest quickly, but I lingered, a prickle at my nape. When the light steadied, we cooked venison steaks I'd packed, the sizzle masking the drip-drip from the ceiling, rain or a leak. Eating by candlelight felt ritualistic, the flames dancing shadows across faces drawn with unspoken worry. Nightfall came like a thief, stealing the last gray light. The girls begged to sleep downstairs with us, sleeping bags zipped tight on the rug. Sarah read from a dog-eared book of ghost stories. Ironic, we agreed with nervous laughs. But midway through, Lily bolted upright. "There!" She pointed to the kitchen doorway, where a shape lingered translucent, a woman's form in a sodden dress, head bowed. It vanished as I lunged for the light switch, the bulb buzzing to life. Empty space, just the sink dripping. Emily sobbed. "She was crying, Mom. Crying our names." Sarah gathered them, rocking gently, but her eyes met mine over their heads. Fear, raw and shared. I barricaded the door with a chair, the wood scraping like nails on bone. "Storm tricks," I whispered, but sleep evaded us all, the wind howling accusations outside. Hours crawled. Around midnight, the whispers returned. Not wind, but words, layered and insistent, seeping from the walls. "Join us? Cold, so cold." Lily whimpered in her sleep, twitching as if pulled. I rose, flashlight beam cutting the dark, sweeping the corners. In the loft, something thudded, soft, like a body dropping. Heart slamming, I climbed, the ladder slick under my palms. Emily's sleeping bag was empty, unzipped and trailing to the floor. "Emily?" No answer. Panic clawed my throat as I tore through the loft. Under the beds, behind the crates. Gone. Downstairs, Sarah's scream pierced the air. Lily stood frozen, pointing. Emily hovered at the window, nose pressed to the glass, murmuring to the night. "She says we have to go outside. To play." I yanked her back, her skin icy, lips blue. "What she?" "Emily, wake up!" But her eyes were vacant, fixed on the tree-lean where a figure waited. The woman, dress plastered to skeletal limbs, hand extended. We bundled the girls into coats, fleeing to the SUV despite the downpour. The engine roared to life on the third try, headlights carving tunnels through the rain. As we peeled down the drive, the cabin receded in the mirror, its windows glowing faintly. Candles? No eyes, dozens, peering from the dark. Sarah gripped the wheel, knuckles white, while I held the girls in the back, their shivers sinking with mine. The road twisted, gravel slick, trees clawing at the sky. Then, brakes. A shape in the beams, the doll woman, blocking the path, mouth open in silent scream. Sarah swerved, tires screaming, the SUV fishtailing into a ditch. Impact jarred us, glass cracking but holding. Silence again, broken by Lily's wail. She's coming. We scrambled out, mud sucking at our boots, rain lashing faces. The figure approached, not walking but gliding, water streaming from her form in unnatural rivulets. Whispers multiplied. Eleanor's voice, and others, a chorus of the lost. Stay, forever. Emily tugged my hand. Daddy, run. We bolted into the woods, branches whipping skin, roots tripping feet. Sarah stumbled, crying out, but I hauled her up, the girl's hands small and trembling in mine. Behind, the rustle pursued, steady, unhurried. A clearing opened ahead, the frozen stream we'd seen yesterday, its ice thin and cracking under our weight. Lily slipped, plunging elbow deep, her scream echoing. I yanked her free, water black and frigid, something brushing my leg beneath. Fingers? Cold, insistent, deeper into the trees, lungs burning. The whispers faded to murmurs. We collapsed against a fallen log, gasping, rain mingling with tears. The car, Sarah panted. We have to get back. But as we rose, a twig snapped, close to the left, then right, encircling. Shapes materialized from the mist. Not one woman, but many, faces blurred, dresses rotting, hands outstretched like beggars. They closed in, slow as molasses, but relentless, the air thickening with their chill. Emily froze, transfixed by the nearest, its glass eyes, the doll's eyes, locking on hers. Play with me, it mouthed, voice a rasp in my mind. I scooped her up, breaking into a sprint, Sarah and Lily stumbling behind. Thorns tore clothes, blood warm against cold skin. But we ran, the horde's whispers swelling to a wail. The cabin loomed again. Had we looped? No, the road forked left, headlights distant but real. Another car, headlights piercing the storm. A ranger? Help? We waved frantically, voices raw. The vehicle slowed. A pickup, bearded man at the wheel peering out. You folks okay? Saw your lights swerve. Relief crashed over us as we piled in. The girls burrowing into seats, Sarah sobbing quietly. He radioed for a tow, his voice crackling over static. Bad night for driving. This stretch gets tricksy. As we waited, I glanced back. The woods empty now, but the cabin's windows still gleamed, a faint silhouette waving goodbye. The tow truck arrived at dawn, the storm broken, sky a pale wash. Our SUV was winched free, dented but drivable. The ranger, Tom, his badge red, eyed the cabin askance. Heard stories about that place. Eleanor